Salvete, and welcome back to Agora Academy. Before we truly dive into the language, there are a couple of differences between Latin and English that we should really discuss. First of all, try to think of the word that you say the most often in English. Any guesses? Yes, that's right, you guessed it. The is probably the word that you use the most frequently in English. That's because, except for names, all English nouns have to be introduced by an article. There are two articles in English: the, which introduces something specific, and a, or an, which is more general. So guess how many articles Latin has? None. That's right, there are no articles in Latin. There's no word for the, and there's no word for a either. What that means is that when you translate Latin into English, you have to supply it. For example, agricola could be translated as farmer, the farmer, or a farmer. But we'll practice more with this later. Now, there's one more major difference between Latin and English. In order to explore this, let's look at an example English sentence. The man chases the dog. We know in this sentence that it is the man chasing the dog, and not the other way around. How do we know that? Because of the word order. In English, word order is the main signifier of meaning. Take a look. If you change the order of the sentence so that it says, the dog chases the man, then the meaning, well, it changes. In English, the standard word order is subject, verb, direct object. If you don't know or don't remember what the terms subject and direct object mean, don't worry about that. The next lesson will give you a chance to brush up on some English grammar. In the meantime, all you have to know is that Latin word order is different from English. And how different? Very different. Whereas in English, word order is the main signifier of meaning, in Latin, word order is not the main way that you find out what a sentence means. And while Latin does tend to follow similar patterns when constructing sentences, word order does not matter nearly as much in Latin as it does in English. In Latin, you can tell where each word belongs in a sentence by an ending that is placed on it. We'll learn more about the endings later, but for now, all you need to know is that, technically speaking, you could scramble the words in the sentence any way you want, and the meaning wouldn't change. In Latin, the most common order, actually, would be dog, man, chases, which is subject, direct object, verb. But it can change, depending on what words the speaker wants to emphasize, or if the speaker is trying to fit the words into a poem. Okay, Discipuli, great job! The next lesson will be a brief review of how subjects, verbs, and direct objects function in a sentence. If you already know what these terms mean and how they work, then that's great. You can skip the next lesson. However, if you have any doubt or even the smallest confusion about any of these terms, you should definitely make sure you complete the following lesson. Because of what we said about word order, it is critical that you are able to identify the subject and the direct object so that you can put the right ending on each noun.